really thought about what's inside your smartphone? I mean, really thought about it. We're about to go on a journey into one of the most complex, most precise manufacturing processes on the entire planet. We're going to see how simple sand gets transformed into the superbrain of all our modern technology, the microchip. It all starts right here. What you're looking at is a silicon wafer, absolutely packed with hundreds of individual chips. And each one of those little squares, it's a whole universe of microscopic circuits. This amazing journey, from a humble grain of sand to this incredible piece of technology, is exactly what we're going to break down step by step. Okay, so before we can even step foot inside the factory, we have to get the absolute basics down. First up, what in the world is a semiconductor? And why is one particular element, silicon, the undisputed king of our digital age? So at its very heart, a semiconductor is a material with a really special talent. The best way to think about it is like a light switch. It can let electricity flow freely, acting like a conductor, that's the on state. Or it can completely block that flow, acting like an insulator, that's the off state. And the simple ability to switch between on and off is the foundation of all digital computing. It's everything. So out of all the elements, why silicon? Well, for one, it's everywhere. It comes from plain old sand. But what's really important are its properties. It's incredibly stable, its ability to conduct electricity can be controlled with amazing precision, and, this part is absolutely crucial, when you expose it to oxygen, it grows this perfect, stable, insulating layer called silicon dioxide. That oxide layer is the secret sauce for building reliable transistors. All right, now that we've got our material picked out, the first big step is to create the perfect canvas. You see, we can't just build circuits on any old piece of silicon. We need a surface that is flawlessly pure, perfectly flat, and atomically smooth. So the process kicks off in a massive furnace where we melt down quartz sand to get silicon that's about 98% pure. But here's the thing. For microchips, 98% is a failing grade. It's not even close. So through some very complex chemistry, we purify it to an incredible 99.9999999% purity. This ultra-pure molten silicon is then slowly grown into a massive, single-crystal cylinder called an ingot. Finally, we take this perfect crystal and slice it with a diamond saw into the thin discs we call wafers, which are then polished until they are smoother than any mirror you've ever seen. And this is the result. This beautiful, shimmering wafer is our perfect canvas. It is genuinely one of the purest and smoothest objects humanity has ever created. From this point on, it enters an ultra-clean environment, a clean room, where even a single speck of dust could ruin everything. Welcome to the absolute heart of the chip factory. We are now at the most critical, the most expensive, and honestly, the most mind-bending part of this whole process. Photolithography. Just think of it as a kind of microscopic photography that lets us print circuit patterns that are smaller than a virus. And just look at the size of this thing. This is an extreme ultraviolet, or EUV lithography machine. It's as big as a city bus. It costs over $150 million, and it's one of the most complicated machines ever built by human beings. Its entire job is to project light with a ridiculously small wavelength to draw the chip's blueprint. So how does it actually work? Well, first, we spin a perfectly thin, even layer of a light-sensitive chemical called photoresist onto our shiny wafer. Next, that massive EUV machine shines light through a stencil, we call it a mask, which has the blueprint for one layer of the circuit. Wherever the light hits the photoresist, it triggers a chemical change. And finally, we just wash the wafer, and all the exposed parts of the photoresist dissolve, leaving behind a perfect stencil right there on the surface. Okay, with that stencil in place, we are finally ready to start building the actual components of the chip. Now, a microchip isn't flat. It's more like a three-dimensional skyscraper of different materials. And to build it, we have to go through a repeating cycle of steps, over and over and over again, all with nanometer precision. And this diagram here shows you that core manufacturing loop perfectly. Photolithography, which we just covered, creates the pattern. Then, a cycle of other key processes actually builds the chip structure. These include things like deposition, where we add thin layers of material, etching, where we carve material away, and doping, where we change the silicone's electrical properties. This entire loop, lithography, etch, dope, deposit, gets repeated, sometimes hundreds of times, to build the chip layer by painstaking layer. So let's zoom in on two of those key steps. Etching is where we use that photoresist stencil as a guide. We use reactive gases to chemically carve away any silicon that isn't protected. Doping, also called ion implantation, is basically a microscopic particle accelerator. We literally fire specific atoms or ions, like phosphorus or boron, directly into the silicon. This precisely changes its electrical properties, creating what we call N-type and P-type regions, which are the essential building blocks of a transistor. And this is what all that work is for. We're building this, the transistor. It's the fundamental building block of all modern electronics. You see, by applying a tiny voltage to the gate, we control if current can flow between the source and the drain. It's that on-off switch we talked about at the beginning, just on an impossibly small scale. Now, keep that simple diagram in your head, because a single high-end chip today contains more than 50 billion of those transistors. 50 billion. Each one built through that same painstaking cycle of lithography, etching, and doping. The scale is it's almost impossible to comprehend. Of course, having billions of tiny switches doesn't do you any good unless they can all talk to each other. So the next major phase is to build this incredibly intricate, multi-level network of microscopic copper wires right on top of all those transistors. Think of it like a 3D superhighway system for electricity, directing the flow of information all across the chip. Okay, after weeks, sometimes months, of processing and building hundreds of layers, our wafer is finally finished. But we are not done yet. Now comes the moment of truth. We have to test every single chip and prepare the ones that work to leave the clean room and head out into the real world. So on the left, you can see our finished wafer, a canvas now filled with hundreds of identical chips, which we call dies. And the diagram on the right, well, that shows the whole journey we've been on, from the raw ingot to the polished wafer, through all those cycles of lithography and etching, all the way to a finished processor. The very last step inside the factory is to separate these chips by precisely dicing the wafer. These final steps are all about quality control. First, tiny robotic probes touch down on every single chip to run a battery of electrical tests, marking any that are defective. Then, a diamond saw literally dices the wafer into individual chips. The ones that pass the test move on to packaging, where they're put into a protective housing with pins so they can connect to a circuit board. And finally, they go through one last brutal round of testing to make absolutely sure they are perfect. So let's just take a step back for a second. From a pile of sand to a fully packaged, fully tested microchip, we've just walked through one of the single greatest technological achievements in human history. You know, this quote really just says it all. There are very, very few things we human beings make that require this level of precision, this level of purity, and this much investment. It's really the culmination of decades and decades of scientific progress. And what makes it so incredible is that it's not just one field of science. It's a symphony of sciences. You need quantum physics to design the transistors. You need advanced chemistry for the etching and deposition. You need material science to create that perfect silicon crystal, electrical engineering to design the circuits, and of course, nanotechnology to build it all at a scale we can barely even imagine. So I'll just leave you with this one question. The next time you pick up your phone, or send an email, or watch a video, just take a second to think about the absolutely mind-boggling journey that started in a furnace with a bit of sand and ended up as the superbrain that powers your entire world. It's truly a modern marvel.